Hello, hello. It looks like we are live. I am Alexi. I'll be your MC this evening. We are here playing a game. We're playing Checkpoint Midnight Waltz of Treachery Season 3, Session 1 of 4. So, this is a game organized through the Gauntlet gaming community. The Gauntlet is a cool online community playing lots of indie role-playing games. You can learn more about the Gauntlet at gauntlet-rpg.com or on Twitter at gauntletrpg. If you're intrigued by the type of games we're playing here, definitely check it out because in October, we have our next Gauntlet Community Open Gaming Weekend, which is a time when folks can come play with the Gauntlet for absolutely free. Anyone can sign up and be part of some cool games going on through the Gauntlet. The game that we're playing here is Checkpoint Midnight, an in-development game of fantasy espionage in Cold War Vienna. I am the creator of this game. I'm playtesting it as we speak, and this has been really fun running this quarterly. So a series involving multiple seasons where we've gotten to see some characters, have longer arcs play out. In this season 3, which was just getting started, we've got all veteran players and characters here, but we've got one character returning from the first season who's been gone for the second season, and so we'll be stumbling back into everything that's gone on in Vienna in her absence. We've got one character continuing who was introduced in the second season. We've got two characters who've been with us the whole time. It's a great mix. It's going to be a fun season. I'm excited to see perhaps how some of these characters reach their end games during season 3, but definitely what becomes of Vienna and the various factions vying within it as we play out this season. If you are intrigued and want to learn more about Checkpoint Midnight, want to be kept in the loop as I continue playtesting it, and perhaps as it goes on from there, you can sign up to learn all about Checkpoint Midnight at bit.ly/checkpointmidnightlist. That's a capital C for checkpoint, capital M for midnight, and capital L for list. I'll put the link under this video as well. You can also follow me on Twitter at Cloven Pine Games. That's my handle for game design and all of my gaming endeavors. So if you follow at Cloven Pine Games, you'll be able to learn also about Checkpoint Midnight's progress. Enough about me, though. Let's talk a little about the wonderful players we have this evening. So if you don't mind, folks, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourselves. Say, if you would, your name, your pronouns, your online handle, if you so desire, and we'll just do a round introducing players before we come back and introduce the characters. So, Puckett, if you don't mind kicking us off. And I should say, I'm Alexi. I use he/him, and my online handle, as you heard, is Cloven Pine Games. Puckett, will you kick us off?
Hi there, I'm Puckett. I use he/him pronouns. Next week, I may have a fun fact for you about bees.
Okay, what a teaser. We'll keep our ears peeled for that. Leandro, introduce yourself next.
Hi, my name's Leandro. I use he/him pronouns. Someday I might have something to plug. Check maybe in 2 weeks, hopefully. But for now, all I have is a fun fact about David Bowie, because I've been in a bit of a Bowie kick lately. Did you know in 1964, when he was just 17 years old, David Bowie formed the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Long-Haired Men, an organization aimed at protesting the treatment that he and other men with long hair received in the streets of London, because, it's an important issue of the day. He was even interviewed by the BBC at the time, because, again, incredibly important issues that David Bowie was stumping for at the time.
That is a fun fact indeed. Thank you very much, Leandro. Mark, you are up next as I move across the character keeper, so please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Mark. I'm also known as Kai, XAI. You can find me online at Kai the Gamer. That's XAI the Gamer. I use they, them pronouns. I'll be playing Skye, who uses she, her pronouns. And I don't have any allusions to or actual special facts to announce tonight. So I'll just let us carry on.
That's fine. Fun facts are entirely optional. And indeed, I don't think I even asked for them this time around. It's just people are very excited to share. Jesse, last but not least, please tell us about yourself.
I am Jesse. My pronouns are he, him, and another smaller David Bowie fact, which is that he did not learn to contact juggle for Labyrinth. It's somebody else's hands there, out there in front of him, and as soon as you know that, it becomes very uncanny to look at.
Thank you very much, Jesse. So good to have you here. We're gonna learn about these characters next. And you know what? Here's what we'll do. As you introduce yourself, folks that have been around in season 2 of Checkpoint Midnight, could you just give us a little like thumbnail sketch of what's been important for your character in this past season? Like what are the developments you'd want to highlight in the previously on Checkpoint Midnight reel? And this will serve as a touch of a recap, and I might add some things at the end too. So Puckett, with that remit, will you tell us about your character, Jack, and a little about what's recently been going on for him?
I am playing Jack Hardesty, who uses he/him pronouns, and Jack is the unburied. Basically, the way Alexi pitched it to me many, many months ago was Undead Steve Rogers, which, if you don't want to play that, what is even wrong with you? And what Jack has been doing, although perhaps his so-called handlers for the CIA and the KGB may not know this or may not be entirely aware of it, but what everybody else has probably been aware of is they see Jack making friends and offering hands up to people, is that Jack is quietly building an army of the strange and the weird and the undead and people who have abilities beyond those of common mortals. And just to help with that, Jack's also kind of building up quite an armory. So that's fun. Why, it's almost like he's preparing for a war.
That is fascinating. And a war against whom, would you say?
That's a hell of a good question.
It seems like one of the sets of people that particularly receive Jack's ire are the unscrupulous scientists that brought him back from death in the first place. This kind of fairly shady set of researchers and laboratories that he's been tearing apart as best he can, but there's always seem to be more hiding around the corner.
And isn't it unfortunate? But the bright side of it is that since there's always more, it's very easy for Jack to say, listen, I know you want this object and I can't let you have it, but I can put a gun in your hand and watch you pull the trigger on one of these guys.
Yes, we'll get to we'll do a little love letter recap at a certain point here, but that seems like a good sense of what makes Jack tick and who he's most recently been ticking off in Vienna. Anything else we should definitely know about Jack before we meet our next operative?
Only that he hasn't really been ticking people off because he's been too busy trying to make friends with people and giving them chances to not be ticked off and say, well, yeah, okay, that went a little sideways for you, but come with me. We'll find something else out for you. We'll get you there. We'll find something cool for you. Timothy, Anton, whoever.
Yeah, you've tried to mend bridges with a number of targets. You have left a number of bodies in your wake, though. It's not like Jack has been using kid gloves this whole season. I feel like
important bodies.
Wow. Okay. Real. Some interesting judgment calls here, but that's all right. Great.
They were war criminals, and they weren't really useful.
Let's meet our next operative. Leandro, will you tell us about your character and what she's been up to in this past season?
Yeah, I'm playing Emilie Landau, uses she, her pronouns. She is using the Artful playbook with the favored role. Basically, she's a young girl who's probably a bit in over her head, but when you're favored with so much weird supernatural luck given to her by her benefactor. What are we gonna do except rock by to Vienna and see what you can make of yourself there, which has been quite a lot since Skye left to. Now we'll find that out in a moment. Emilie's been kind of like had her ups and downs, mostly highs and lows. Not really many creamy middles. She's gotten closer to Jack. Some soft moments there. She helped foil an art theft, mainly because she was there to steal the painting herself. But she managed to foil that. And yeah, she also met up with her ex, the lovely creature of the night that is Victoria. That was totally not contentious, that meeting at all. Totally did not end with Victoria being all, haha, I'm ready to do all my plans to usurp the throne of night for myself. I would like your help there, even though I left you alone and kind of sort of dumped you, but in a mysterious way, which means I can come back and renege on that dumping. You know how it is. Something mortals were able to understand. And also gave, and because Emilie was like, all right, I'll play along with that, I suppose. Victoria gave Emilie a list of people to kill and the dagger to kill him with. Fun stuff. And so she did. So Emilie's kind of like trying, and also I guess trying to like figure out how she'll come out on top amidst all of this. She's trying to play a lot of different people, including her new Soviet handler, who is also an ex of Victoria's. That's not gonna combust at all. And there's a lot of stuff. She ate a bit of a golden apple. That happened. Not only that. She took a bit of the golden apple and cut it off using the shadow infused dagger that her ex gave her. Probably won't be any complications there. And last time we saw her, she was at a party, talking to the head of the order who tried to steal that art painting, and basically trying to schmooze her way into that organization. I should also note this said lady. I think Emilie was given 3 different tasks to do by 3 different people involving this lady and this mansion. Which is at least she can multitask and try and hit a couple birds with at least 1 or 2 stones.
Yeah, 3 birds with 1 shadow edge dagger. Thank you for the recap. I'm very excited to see where Emilie goes next here. Especially how long it'll be before things come to a head with her either abetting or sabotaging Victoria's complicated otherworldly usurpation plan. But be that as it may, we've got a returning character. So, Mark, will you tell us a little about Dr. Skye McTaggart, who has been absent for a little while and is now coming back to Vienna? So remind us of your character, and I'm excited about bringing her back into the mix here.
Sure. Skye is the elemental playbook, Rusalka variant or choice on that playbook. She was drowned in the rivers or the sewers, if you will, of Vienna, but somehow survived all of that. She has essentially 2 handlers at this point. She met up with the Russians and impressed one of them. But more specifically, there is Dr. Thorne, who owns a ring of hers that has a bit of her soul, I guess you'd say. And anytime I have displeased him, he finds some way to hurt it and thus hurt me. And after a bright and explosive first season, she decided to go on vacation and go looking for dragons. I guess her definition of overkill is much higher than other people's definition of overkill. But she rolled poorly and did barely survived. Her hair is now white tipped from an encounter with the dragon, and she's back to hopefully find some way to get Dr. Thorne to leave her the hell alone.
Very nice. Yeah, and we'll go into exactly what state she's in as she returns. But I love that detail that her hair has gone white at the tips. Welcome back, Skye. Good to have you returning. Anything else we should definitely know about Skye before we meet the last of this quartet of operatives here?
Yeah, I mean, she was a doctor in the war, and what else? She's had a short fling with Emilie in the first season.
I believe you still care too much about Emilie, such that there's a mechanical effect if she gets hurt or betrays you.
Oh yeah. The character sheet is so long. There's so much to go over. I don't even know all my moves anymore. So that's what I've got for tonight.
Nice. Well, I'm excited. Last but not least, Jesse, will you tell us about Joske, your character, and what he's been up to during the season we've just experienced?
Yes, I'm playing Joske Rabinovich. Rabinovich, a Polish Jewish Holocaust survivor. He would have been in his late teens, early 20s at the end of the war, so he's now in his late 20s, early to mid 30s. I know we haven't pinned down an exact year, but if it's before 1956, that's roughly where he's at. He face cast as a Sam Wanamaker at about that age. He's the Relentless playbook with the Dream Stalker role, and the Relentless chases a conspiracy of monsters. This conspiracy of monsters are also people. They are Nazis. Specifically an alliance of Nazis and nightmare elves who are conspiring to merge the nightmare realm with the fatherland, and so bring about the domination of the master race. It's pretty ugly stuff. Joske sort of bumped around the Eastern Mediterranean and Europe after the war. Tried on a bunch of different ideologies, starting with socialism, really before the war in his youth, abandoning the traditional religion of his family, and all kinds of things post-war, until he kind of landed at a sort of Epicurean nihilism, where he enjoys the finer things in life. He wants to murder Nazis in general and prevent any kind of post-war Nazi plots from coming into effect, especially this particular one. And he's willing to do more or less anything to do it, although he's starting to build some relationships that might be complicating things. But after the events of our last session, we'll have to see how that all plays out, because in that last session, after one of those friends, Valentine Garvey, tossed him to his mother, Night, in order to appease her. Joske decided to make a deal instead, and is now, among other things, an agent of Night. Although Night wears the guise of a CIA handler, so it's all really quite complicated. And in terms of a certain amount of symmetry, Skye, as a sign of that relationship, the sort of front lock of his hair has turned white. That sort of like, if you see in the image, it's sort of parted on the right and then combed in front. So that front lock is pure white.
Very nice. Yeah, I'm so excited that kind of we're carrying forward elements of the mythology, right, of the realm of night and the netherworld. That was that a lot was going on there with our character Valentine Garvey in the previous series, but even with Valentine, no longer in this season, his legacy endures, partially because Joske has become an agent of night and has taken up some of these powers and some of these responsibilities. So I'm excited to drop us into this crazy situation we have going on in Vienna. Let's do a quick review of the love letters that my players have responded to in order to sort of situate us, dealing with some outstanding business from the last season and situating us for this coming season. So I'm going to start with Skye's. Skye, your love letter reads, "Dear Skye, it's been a while, huh? Last we saw, you were leaving Vienna entirely to go tearing off after dragons. Let's see how that's been going." And we basically had you make a roll to find out how your dragon quest had gone. Do you mind telling us how that went?
If I remember correctly, I rolled a 6, and all of the bad choices came into play. What I remember is that I made my discovery, and it tried to kill me, and I survived and escaped, and had to come back to Vienna with no extra power or knowledge. I am stressed completely out and burnt, literally and figuratively, metaphorically. So I don't remember all of the specific details.
You got most of the big ones. The only other consequence is that the waters of Vienna are jealous of your
Yes.
Your absence, and so the love letter said, you take disadvantage or extra stress for using your powers until you propitiate them, and you had a kind of interpretation of part of what's going on there.
Yes. I didn't know that rivers could become jealous of lakes, but now I know. Now I know. Oh man, what a beautiful detail! I love it. I have a jealous lover of sorts.
The Danube,
Yeah.
That's perfect. So let me quickly run down some of our other love letters, and then we'll be picking up and seeing how we try to deal with some of these consequences. Emilie, yes, we last saw you at a party, a shindig going on at Lady Aurelia Felkirk's manor, where you were to learn more about the Noble Order of the Silver Eye, this kind of esoteric order whose name has kept cropping up in some of your adventures. You took a close look at Lady Aurelia, deciphering her to learn how you could gain leverage on her. And what you discovered is if you showed her something she'd never seen before, and of course she's seen a lot in her time with the Noble Order of the Silver Eye, you could make an indelible impression and gain a certain leverage. So tell us what you picked to show off and how that went for you.
Yeah, so I had two choices. One, I had the scrap of the painting that she had sent dear silly Ambrose to steal, Stygian Blue Dreams. Or I could have shown her this Shadow Edge Netherworld dagger that was gifted to me by my ex, specifically to kill Lady Felkirk. Of course, I wouldn't tell her that, but so I opted for the dagger because she already seen the painting. It'll come off more as a taunt, really, being like, haha, I have this painting I stole from you. That seems in poor taste. A dagger seems much a nicer thing to show. And I got me a 12, apparently. It's a direct contrast to the last time Emilie had a letter thrown at her, which she ended up in the sewers inside a bag of rocks. But yeah, I got her 12, which means that on a hit, I gained leverage on Lady Aurelia and an invite to an even more exclusive gathering, which is just lovely in the next few days. Apparently only for the highest ranking members of the Order and a special guest. So Emilie's plan to put off having to kill Lady Falkirk by schmoozing into this organization is paying off. And on a 10 plus, I get to examine the mansion surreptitiously, and I get a question. So I mentioned that I basically into this mansion with like 3 different people have asked me 3 different things. Victoria has asked me to kill Lady Falkirk. That's in the works. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I won't. My dear Soviet handler Milashka, who is the aforementioned ex of Victoria's, asked me to try and source this globe of ancient winters that are said to have been at least seen, if not in the mansion, but in the circle of the Noble Order. And dear American friend Agent Dixon asked me to help break down Lady Falkirk's mansion wards. That seemed the more practical thing to do. I mean, the globe thing, I can source that for later. I'm still talking to this organization, but since I'm already at the mansion, I did kind of know how do these mansion wards work? It's like the best way to knock them down.
Oh, nice. Yeah, best way to take down the wards. Yeah. So you see kind of carved in above each kind of doorway and window frame in the mansion is the set of arcane symbols, and it's very clearly carefully maintained, right? The lintels there are otherwise spotless, dusted and kept shiny. So you feel like if the wards themselves were kind of sufficiently defaced, right, such that it was no longer possible to read if whoever has the knowledge to read these sigils couldn't read the sigils anymore, that feels like it would cut against the effect that the wards have, whatever protective power they are conveying is like built into their particular shapes, and if that is disrupted sufficiently, that might get rid of their effect. Does that make sense? Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good. I'd ask if I can do that right now, deface them, but we'll think about that. Maybe we'll come back to that. There's like one more thing in that love letter. Oh, go ahead.
The other upshot of your love letter is Ambrose manages to tell you what's got him worried, because he was the one who invited you to this party in the first place. The young man whom you foiled in stealing a painting once upon a time, wants your help for something. He says that he thinks another member of the Noble Order of the Silver Eye, one Jan Claassen, is up to no good and gaining too much influence over his aunt. He wants you to find out what Jan's planning and help him convince his aunt, Lady Aurelia, that Jan is bad news. And Joske had a run-in with Jan at the that art auction already, so Joske has his own reasons to be suspicious of this figure. In the chat, Jesse says, "That Nazi fucker," which indeed, eloquent. So the next of these love letters I want to run over is Jack's, because Jack, Valentine left you with a bit of a mess to clean up. You decided you weren't going to let Anton, the smuggler / petty sorcerer, slink away. You sicked Ushi, the ghost dog, on him. Ushi, fetched Anton, and then it was up to you how he was going to end up. And it sounds like you have opted not to end this this bothersome person, but to attempt to recruit him. Yes,
He's a smuggler and something of a sorcerer. He could be useful. Plus, if I've saved his life and spared him, and he knows that I have a ghost dog that can fetch him to me whenever I wish it, and enough guns to make sure that I can render him dead, it's entirely likely that I might be able to trust him as far as I can throw him.
And you can throw people pretty far, given that we've established, Jack is a pretty well-built, resurrected soldier. Cool. That was the easy part.
Of course it was the easy part.
Disposing of the shade summoning basin that Anton stole from Valentine will be harder. So as you weigh what to do with the artifact, both Trip and Lena catch up to you. Both of them want the basin. Neither will be happy with a Solomonic solution where each gets half. There was no roll required. You just had to make a choice as your two handlers each exerted leverage on you, each wanting you to give the basin over to them. So just tell us what you chose for Trip and for Lena.
I explained to both of them that they both know that neither side should have access to this kind of power. And since Trip, I think, is actually going to grow into be the kind of handler that I think he can be, he settled on getting some leverage on Yelena Kozakova. I mean, why wouldn't he want leverage on his counterpart at the NKVD, who death wants dead? That's useful. And I told Lena that when we catch up with Thorn, that, well, she can put the gun to his head and pull the trigger. I don't need to be the one who kills him. I just want to be one of the people there to see him die.
Very generous of you, Jack. Yeah. So
Isn't it though? I like to think that I'm Santa Claus.
Santa Claus, but for killing unscrupulous scientists.
That's the best kind of Santa Claus.
Yeah. So Trip will take leverage on an NKVD counterpart like that. That indeed is something an ambitious CIA handler can make use of. Lena, grumbles a little bit, but she understands you're a man of your word, and she will take that promise that you're going to leave Dr. Thorne's final comeuppance in her hands. And that means you, Jack, are left with this basin that Valentine was able to use to summon shades. So I'm going to be interested in knowing where that ends up. If you've successfully negotiated with your handlers, giving up other things to them to hold on to this artifact. Last but not least, Joske, we had a love letter all set for you. Because Valentine left you a gift. As discussed, you've been touched by Night herself and gained an ability to weave through the city's shadowed byways. So you were able to make use of that to take a crack at a mission you had on the table from your Soviet handler Spartak, who wanted answers about this painter Marcel Mignard, whose painting was being fought over by various factions, and Spartak wants to know, where is he getting this inspiration? What's going on in the strange dreams the painter's having? And as it happens, you're a person who can slink through the shadows and get into people's dreams now. So how did that go, snooping around Marcel Mignard's dreamscape?
Really much better than it could have reasonably been expected to go. But I'm an excellent dreamer. And I rolled extremely high, which is, I've rolled very well. I'm terrified about what the future holds. I've generally had good rolls in this game. So I slipped quietly into the through the shadows, through the night, into Mignard's hotel lobby, where I quietly sat and dozed my way into his dreams. And I was able to ask some questions. I found out who is pulling Mignard's strings, how I could gain leverage on him, and what exactly is happening under the surface of these paintings, which I know Emilie experienced firsthand, but Joske does not really have any knowledge of.
Yeah, absolutely. And here are the answers you pick up. Yeah. So who's pulling Mignard's strings? Mignard's being used by netherworld shades who are sending him nightly visions of their realm. Recurring military imagery suggests that fallen soldiers from both sides of World War II are pulling Mignard's strings.
Was there you can obviously not answer this, but like, is there a sense of like can I get a sense of like what they want him for?
Yeah, I think they want to escape, and they want to use his paintings to do that.
Got it. So it's not just like we want people to experience what we experienced. It's not just about art.
No, there's a certain utilitarian part underneath the artistry, right? Let's see. You wanted to know how you could get leverage on Marcel Mignard. He has fallen in love with the realm of night after seeing it in his dreams. So if you could convince him that yes, this is a real place, yes, I have access to it, you would definitely take leverage on the artist.
Yes, maybe I'll invite him to join me and Victoria for a drink in her apartments.
And
Victoria and I are old friends.
And what's going on with the paintings under the surface? So they are suffused with this shadowy inspiration from his dreams. They are partially dormant portals to the netherworld, merely awaiting a spark of power to become active doorways in and out.
Cool.
With some of that, recap, introduction, and love letters, let's now turn, I think, to Checkpoint Midnight itself, and just try to see what happens when these characters cross paths there at the crossroads. Checkpoint Midnight is the crossroads. It's a cafe that serves as a sort of common ground for the supernatural side of the city. So we'll check in at the cafe. I know some of you have business to attend to there, but we'll see if we can put all these characters on screen together, and then have them take care of some of their things, and perhaps embark on missions or other business from here. But I'd love to pick up at the checkpoint as our next season starts. So this checkpoint, right? A cafe owned by the proprietor, Herr Franz. Seems to be of American extraction. He's a very sweet man, rumored to have been a ruthless killing machine back in the day. We've cast Sam. We cast Sam Elliott with a very distinguished white mustache as the proprietor. So let's see. Yeah, Jack. What do we see if we say that Jack has made his way back to Checkpoint Midnight? You said you brought Anton here to get patched up.
Luckily there's a back door.
Yeah.
You have to go around the back and down that ramp, and then you go into the service door into the basement.
Mm-hmm.
That's also where the surgery is.
Nice. So like you've dragged this smuggler here to make sure that he doesn't expire, because you still have uses for him. You want to make a new friend.
It's good to make new friends, especially ones with different interesting skill sets. A smuggler and petty necromancer. Those are two skill sets I might have use of.
They are.
But you've told me that this actually causes some turmoil at the checkpoint.
Yeah. So I think there's just a scene, right, of some of the helpers back here who assist with the secret medical wing of the checkpoint. Looking askance a little as you lay Anton down on a gurney or whatever, right? And someone's like, we'll help him, but he's not someone who should be here, Jack. This is going to cause problems. Someone's also clearly run off to just tell Herr Franz what is going on.
I was going to say, listen, just take care of him. I will go talk to Herr Franz right now.
Got it. So you're ready to talk to Herr Franz yourself, I see.
But is anyone ready to talk to Herr Franz in a situation like this?
Nice. So
I would say the answer to that is no, but I'm going to do it anyway. I mean, this is a bit like being called into the principal's office.
Great. So you're going up to kind of top side, right, to like the regular part of the establishment to find the proprietor and discuss your situation. Yes. Great. Yeah. Skye, you took a little you took some hits along the way, partially because Dr. Thor's pulling back on your leash, unhappy with you being so far away from Vienna and from whatever tasks he might have for you here. Are you up to head to the checkpoint as you make your way back into the city, and can you tell us what that looks like?
I'm definitely on my way to the checkpoint. That's probably the only place of respite I could have right now since the Danube.
Yeah, the rivers of the city are upset. Right? Is there like some way you can like immediately tell that once you're in the city?
Yeah. So like if this were a camera shot, you'd see me walking along the cobblestone road to next to the river. I've got a long jacket on, and it is more about covering me up than it is about staying warm, because I'm pretty sure I don't really care about the temperature. And I don't know, wherever I am, the water just seems to run heavy. It'll splash up all of a sudden and have a sudden burst to it. Like whitewater rafting, you might just see an extra strong bit of the river that wasn't there before. So, confirming what I had feared, I turn down the circuitous streets and head towards the checkpoint, with my collar up, and my hopes are actually high that there's going to be somebody there that I can talk to that won't be trying to hurt or kill me. So that's a good thing. Fingers crossed at this point. Fingers crossed.
Yes, fingers crossed indeed. Emilie, what brings you to the checkpoint? Just pastries, or are you here in search of something when you spot Skye, arriving back in the city at this place of neutrality here?
I need coffee, need pastries. I had a long, very fun night, but some refreshments are needed. I'm basically just here to it's the checkpoint. I'm just here to reconstitute myself. It's just having a nice, just having some
great
coffee.
Yeah, as you're getting your bearings. Skye, are you coming in the are you coming in the front? You going because presumably eventually the emergency room is of interest, but would Emilie have the chance to spot you when you first arrive?
Yeah, I mean my first goal was to talk to Herr Franz. I don't think I've ever actually talked to him on screen, to be honest. So I'm front door on this one. I mean, I spent, to be honest, I walked a really long way to get where I was going, and I wanted the city to know that I was back. So I'm not trying to hide anything.
I see. You're not being subtle about this.
No, I'm not.
Okay. Yeah. So Emilie, you see Skye walk in, and all over, all around you, the glasses in the checkpoint kind of shudder a little bit. Like if they've got water or even other liquids in them, they're reacting and sputtering a bit as Skye walks over the threshold. What do you do?
I'm just gonna call her name. And I'm not going to do it because I've been told I'm quite loud in this house when people are meant to be sleeping. So I just Skye? Skye.
I wave at her. I grab one of the cowboy hats, put it on, walk over. Is Emilie does she stand up, or is she just staying seated?
I think she didn't expect to see you. I think so. She just kind of she did stand up, and then kind of realized what she was doing and sat back down.
Emilie, on your shoulder, your conscience buzzes at you, saying, "Watch out for this one. She was the one who was always leading Ashley into dangerous and disreputable activities."
I think Emilie just kind of whispers to her shoulder, "Well, you're a bit late to be telling me that now." Skye, where have you been?
I've been off in Romania. Have you been there before?
Probably. Honestly, Eastern Europe's a bit of a muddle in my brain. Depending on where I think I went. How you look? You look.
I look haggard.
Please, not many people can pull off haggard quite as well as you do.
I think she blushes.
Emilie, are you offering comfort?
Yeah. Yeah. I was almost gonna say, yeah, we got on. No, we ended up in bed together. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna roll this. Where is it? Oh, there it is.
Yeah, so that'll be 2d6 plus your dreamer stat,
which is nada, and I rolled a 6. So there we go. There.
Great. Yeah. So as you oh, okay. On a miss, you lower your guard to them. Then you're in the MC's hands. So Emilie, how do you kind of show more of yourself than you mean to here? And then I'm going to ask you to choose something from the lower your guard list.
Yeah, I mean the fact that she stood up excitedly and then sat back down, just quite a contrast compared to last time when she refused to lower her guard. I think she does I think when she says yeah, you pull off haggard quite well, it is a lot more sincerity than she usually does. She looks playful.
What are you choosing from the lower your guard list?
Ooh. Yeah, Emilie can be sincere. She's just not sincere around you, Joske. Yeah, I think I have to choose the start caring too much given this reaction. Oh my gosh, it's Skye. She's back.
Nice. It really gets to you. Okay. Perfect. So you're starting to care too much. I think at that a waiter's going past with a tray of glasses, and right next to Skye, they shatter, right, and water. So the glasses shatter and water goes everywhere, splashing onto Skye, splashing onto you, Emilie, splashing onto the waiter, who kind of looks around suspiciously, and I think all around the checkpoint, people are turning. Jack is reminding us in the comments that using supernatural powers on someone else in Checkpoint Midnight is expressly prohibited. So the people all around are kind of staring at you, Skye, and the waiter's kind of backing away. I'm going to mark. You know what? I'm going to mark another turmoil at the checkpoint because this is there's a lot going on here today, and I'm going to say, Joske, if you want to be turning up roundabout now, I'm happy for you to spot Skye as she's made herself the center of attention here.
which I have Lady in Red.
Absolutely.
Lady in Red, so that makes sense.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah,
You've got to
absolutely.
move for making yourself the center of attention. Though at this point, the water is just it's just kind of
Sure.
pushing you into that spot.
Mhm. Absolutely. I am a mess. I look like I was out drinking last night and then I didn't sleep. All of which is true. Yesterday's clothes, I probably smell like liquor and stale tobacco. I badly need coffee and a shave. And should I now roll I can never remember that move,
Gotta
but
stop making
the
moves.
veteran move, that move.
Nice.
Yeah,
So
gotta
you
stop
spot
meeting like
Skye.
this.
You recognize an old friend, and we're gonna find out what type of old friend she is.
Yeah. Although Skye, you may end up having to answer these questions depending on exactly what the results are.
I'm happy to to tweak it as need be. It just seemed like a really fun opportunity to roll this move for a player
Oh.
character.
I always want to roll this move. You know that.
Yeah, go ahead and roll plus operate.
And that's an 8. Operator, I think, is down to it's -1, so that's a 7.
Okay. Wait, all right. So on a hit, they offer you comfort and aid even if exposed in the danger of retribution. I think what that means is Skye, whatever your previous relationship, it's one that has Skye being positively disposed to you, Joske, right? Like there's a sense of
Yes.
obligation there.
But you also have leverage on me.
Yeah, but Skye also has leverage on you. So let's work this out a little bit. Joske, what are you thinking about why Skye might have leverage? And then Skye, tell us how that sounds. If you want to tweak the idea, add to it.
I'd like to know, Skye, how do you know me first? Do you know me from Vienna or do you know me from before Vienna? Because I've only been around a year, maybe 2.
Yeah, and if she knew you from before Vienna, that would be from her like previous life, as it were, right? Like from before she was drowned and became a Rusalka.
Sorry,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. What was your life like before all this? Before
for the past, let's say since probably about 1950, I've basically been hunting Nazis around Europe. A little bit before that, I was doing some other stuff. Fighting in different wars for different people.
Okay. Yeah.
But
I must have patched you up at some point, and got you out of some trouble.
Sure. How long ago do you think that is?
Well, not so long that it wouldn't be ignored at this point. Let's say, I don't know. I like the idea that I was involved somehow with one of these little wars you were talking about. So,
Okay. So I'm just trying to do some quick math. And some quick Googling. I think it was probably some Eastern European rebellion, right? Let's say something in the late 40s.
Sure. All right. So in Eastern Europe, Skye and Joske cross paths, and Skye patched Joske up, but also Joske has leverage on Skye. So, or no, rather, Skye has leverage on Joske. Got it.
Yeah, because I imagine you helped me out, and I owe you for that because you patched me up. I think it's not a debt; it's leverage, right? I mean, look, I was fighting. Maybe I was fighting against. It was specifically against. It was not even like a war, right? It was just like a little organization fighting against specifically Soviet domination, right? For some splinter socialist group.
right, and I could expose you if I needed to. Sure. Okay.
Yeah. Which, like, I don't know how much the Soviets still care, but they might. I have a Soviet hand. Spartak is a true believer. So I don't know that he would be thrilled to hear. It's one thing for me to be like an amoral Nazi hunter, but like to have actively like ideologically fought against the USSR is not something he probably likes very much.
That's good. That's a good leverage. And then Skye's favorably disposed to you in general because this was a hit on the roll. So is that just that you like had like a friendly connection when she was there for you in your moment of need, Joske, and like you feel like, yeah.
I mean, were you sympathetic to my cause? Was that some of it, or is it no, or maybe not? Because I'm certainly not sympathetic to that cause anymore. I laugh at my younger self and his naivete. So maybe it's just that. Sorry, go ahead. Why are you?
Maybe we were traveling back to safer places together, and we just spent a couple of weeks together.
Sure, I like that.
Yeah.
And of all these cities in Europe, you two end up together in this one. I love it. So Joske, you spot Skye. We get like a quick set of like flashback type images here to fill us in on the fact that there's history between these characters whom we haven't seen together before. Joske, what do you do?
I think I do the same thing that Emilie did. I just call out Skye's name. Right? I don't know what's going on.
Oh,
I can see it's kind of like I can see something's happening, but I don't know what.
Yep.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Yep. Oh my lord. Joske, come over, sit down. I don't know how much
Wait, you
Hey,
know
Emilie, how
him?
you doing?
Yeah, I patched him up once.
We're old friends. Emilie, I have a lot of friends.
Yes, you have a disgusting amount of friends.
Yeah. Well, this is awkward. You look
Emilie
like
and I are also friends, Skye.
I gathered that.
Emilie, do you confirm that, or like what do you say when Joske says that you two are friends?
For a certain definition of friend. In fact, I believe last time we were here, Joske, you defined me as someone whose use is to get out of other people's way.
Things have happened since then.
I think as this reunion is playing out, Jack, you've made your way up to try to find Herr Franz.
What's Skye been up to?
You spot you spot Herr Franz, talking like in earnest conversation with a waiter who's got a tray full of broken glasses, and he's clearly thinking something over seriously. Jack, what do you do?
Herr Franz, may I have a moment of your time in your office?
If it really is just a moment, we can speak out here, Jack. As you can see, there's a number of things calling for my attention.
Privacy would be welcome. I'll buy us both some of your very good cognac.
He says, "Very well. A moment then." And then like turns to the waiter. Keep an eye on things till I'm out. And then steps into the like little, fairly like crammed little office that he keeps, kind of it's sort of ramshackly tacked on to the bulk of Checkpoint Midnight, but seems cozy enough. There's at least one more cowboy hat hanging on the wall in here. And he says, "Well, Jack,
I presume the cognac's already in our hands by this point."
Sure.
Take a sip. I wanted to be the one to tell you this directly. I didn't want you to hear this from anyone else. Your medical staff downstairs is currently treating Anton.
He raises his eyebrows. Anton the smuggler.
The same.
And I take it we have you to thank for him being in need of medical attention?
In a manner of speaking, yes. I am not entirely responsible for his current condition, but I was present when he was put in that condition. Some of the bullets that moved in his direction may have come from one of my guns, but I am not solely responsible. However, I know how much you value neutrality and keeping the peace. And we both know this city is balancing on the tip of a spear.
He sips the cognac and nods.
I am trying to preserve that balance. Anton had obtained a basin of shades, or souls, or some such thing, which, well, it's now in my possession. The Americans don't have it. And
In the
Russians.
checkpoint?
I know the rules, Herr Franz. It is not here. It is safe. It is not somewhere that the basin will not be causing you any trouble.
I'll hold you to that, Jack.
I have a question for you. Things seem to be coming to a head. You seem to be uniquely positioned in this city to maintain the balance that you crave. Any one of these objects falling into the hands of either of the great powers could easily tip the balance that way. And if such a thing occurs, you know how quickly a conflict can escalate from conventional weaponry.
What are you asking of me, Jack?
You've noticed the people that I associate with, I'm sure.
He has sort of a half smile. So he says, the young woman with the ladybug and the gentleman who's so interested in that chair in the corner?
Among others. It seems to me that to preserve the rules of the checkpoint and to ensure that this place remains truly neutral, and I smile a little bit, you might need some assistance.
Yeah. So what's tell me just, out of character, what's your pitch here?
I'm thinking I can trust Herr Franz with these artifacts more than I can trust anybody else. And him gathering a bunch of supernatural operatives would pretty much make him the power broker in the city.
He doesn't want to be a power broker. He wants to be the proprietor of a neutral grounds.
Yeah, well, those days are closing fast, as Pike Bishop once said.
So it sounds to me like you probably are rolling make a stand to convince Herr Franz that he can change his methods slightly in order to pursue his larger goals. Like you are trying to change how he like thinks of his job, right, with the checkpoint and his particular goals in the city. So that'd be a roll plus dreamer to make a stand. Do you want to make a roll for me?
Boxcars on the dice +2.
All right, very nice. Yeah. Okay. So like what comes out of this conversation in the back room is that Herr Franz sees your point, and much as he hates to get more involved, it comes home to him how much he does not want the great powers to be collecting these artifacts. So he agrees to keep them safe, and to he says he's going to rely on you and these friends of yours to make sure that safety is maintained. Does that sound like the upshot you'd hoped for there, Jack?
That sounds fair.
Okay. Yeah.
Excuse me. Let me see if I can do something about the shattering glasses in your lovely cafe.
He says, "Well, I'd be much obliged if you can take care of that."
I'll walk out of the office and go over to the table where I see Skye. You probably don't look like you're doing too good, do you?
Let me see. Not only do I have a condition, I have 4 out of 4 stress marks.
Okay.
So I would say no, I don't look great. Although I did have a cute, tiny little bit of freedom and joy with Emilie.
But your hair has also gone a little white. So there's a number of tells here.
Yeah, I look haggard as we determined.
Skye.
And I'm wet, yes.
It's good to see you again, but you seem somewhat the worse for wear.
You're not the first person to notice, Jack, but thank you. Good to see you.
I wonder. I kind of gesture in the general direction of that tray with the shattered glasses on it. Does that have anything to do with you? Since you are the only person I know with any kind of watery affinity?
Technically, yes.
Some of the water that just pooled on the floor kind of like bubbles up angrily a little bit as you're talking about it.
You know
Starts
what?
to drift away from Skye.
I think it's best if I were to leave.
And let me go with you.
No.
Perhaps.
Get some coffee, Joske. We'll talk sometime.
Yeah, we should catch up. I'd love to hear. You look a little different. It's a good look for you, but I'd like to hear more about it.
Sure. I will tell you all about the dragons and vampires of Romania. So.
Oh, Romania's bad news.
Well, sure, Jack. You're welcome to join me. There will be a point in which we have to split, though.
Of course. But in the meantime, maybe I can offer some measure of assistance.
Welcome in these times, Jack. Welcome indeed.
All right. So are Skye and Jack making their way out of the checkpoint, leaving Joske and Emilie at this table?
Ugh. God, I feel like I'm betraying her.
Yeah. Emilie is gonna.
I'm interested in playing nice with Emilie, but if she does not want to do that, and I think I offer to pay for your pastry this morning. But if she doesn't want to hang out, I obviously couldn't and wouldn't keep her.
I think Emilie wants to do something quite petty. I think she's gonna like stand up. She's soft. She's wet as well. And she'll just say like, "Oh, I should be going, Joske. I need to change. This is quite a lot." I think what she's gonna do is she's gonna try to nudge Yoske's luck so that another waiter passing by will accidentally spill their drinks on Joske.
I'm happy to just let that happen unless you want to roll for it.
I want to roll it.
I mean,
Great.
if you're getting spooky, there are all sorts of potential complications here.
Yeah. I'm pushing my luck because the thing is, like, Emilie's not really this is her trying to flex this. Like, can she push other people's luck?
Can she push other people's luck? We'll find
Yeah.
out. This is a roll plus fable to do this.
I mean, I could just use my. I want to roll this. I mean, part of me, because I have that roll move that can just let me just do it. But I'll bump up my stress. Oh no, let's trust the dice. I mean, Jack got boxcars. What could I get? I get a 5.
Okay, this
Amazing.
is great. Let's take our break right now, and then when we come back let's come back at like 10 past, and we'll find out what some of the fallout is here as Emilie reaches out, attempting to use her luck powers to basically jinx Joske. So I'll see you all in 10. All right, are we all here?
Yep.
Marvelous. So, Emilie attempted to jinx Joske by weaponizing her luck powers, and all we know is it doesn't necessarily go as intended, since we've got a 5 on the dice here. Jesse's pointed out that he has this black pearl from Victoria, and we were speculating about whether it interferes with you trying to use Victoria derived powers against Joske. Emilie, does that sound good to you as a place where we're starting from here with how things might be going differently than you expect?
Yeah, I think it's a good place to start from.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I think maybe. I mean, I guess what does it look like for Emilie to be like intentionally trying to use luck against someone? Like, is there something she's doing or saying that gives this away, or is it really just all about her intentions?
I think it's partially intentions and partially this is her like kind of like trying to realize something about the way her powers work, or at least whatever she has works. And
Bit of an experiment.
yeah, it's a bit of an experiment. There's like a feeling she gets when she like falls off a place, just about to hit and doesn't. It's kind of like this sensation of everything coming to a halt, as if the world's stopping around her, as if like and then it realigns to like go her way. And I think this is like her reaching out and trying to make the world realign to go her way instead of it just happening. It's the difference between that falling move being automatic, and her trying to exert it on circumstances that doesn't trigger that move.
Yeah.
Sense.
So I'd say first, Marcus, yes, because it does sound like you are pushing yourself to do this. And I'll say for a second, it seems like it's working. For a second, you feel like, yes, I've wrenched things to happen the way I want them to. And then there's this kind of like dark iridescence that you see sort of like dance around Joske, right? Something that you'd recognize from some of Victoria appearing and disappearing, right? So a little hint of her influence, and the waiter walks right by Joske, doesn't spill any drinks on him, then immediately slips on the water right by Skye, right? And like the tray goes flying. Joske's fine, but all around the checkpoint, people seem to be dropping plates or knocking over chairs. It's like a spell of ill luck has like gone ricocheting all around, and the waiter that Herr Franz left in charge is walking over towards your table with a grim line of determination across his mouth, and your conscience is buzzing in your ear, Emilie. Oh no, this was a bad idea. This was a bad idea. And let's see. I think the one last thing is just someone says, "Oh, you've got a bug right there," right, and just like swats your conscience, right away from next to you. I don't know if you care enough about Constance that is taking serious harm, Emilie. But Constance just took a hit.
Yeah, I don't have that move.
You don't have that move, but you do have this conscience now. And so asking, how much do you care about it?
More than I did at the start, for sure. But I think I see all that. And did I see the pearl did?
So I think maybe as this is happening, I don't like. I mean, I noticed that there's stuff happening, but I don't think I know you did anything, right? So I think as this is happening, I just see you getting up to go and some chaos, like whatever. Sometimes waiters are clumsy. I reach into my pocket, I pull out the pearl, and I put it down on the table. I say, I'm also exhausted and not looking my best. You as always look divine, Emilie, but there's something I'd like to talk to you about. Let me buy you another pastry, coffee, something. Sit down. I think we should talk about this. And this I sort of like, again, sort of like I've got the pearl in my hand. I sort of like I'm holding it on the table between my finger and thumb.
Nice. So you've pulled out the pearl to consult with Emilie on it as like, you know, a sort of medium level of chaos reigns all around. Emilie, what do you do?
So waiter still coming?
He's still headed towards you, yeah.
Who? I think like Emilie sees like the pearl and just kind of like mutters to herself.
I think you can also see in Joske's face like a sincerity. I mean, yes, he wants to know something that you know, but there's also like a real attempt to build a bridge here. For whatever that's worth.
Yeah. I think like she just kind of like looks at that and kind of like mutters, I guess that came with no strings attached, did it?
Part of what I want to talk to you about.
I think she's not yet really convinced. She's having a real shit day. I don't think she's convinced. Either you're gonna have to roll something, or
I'm willing to take a stand on this.
Yeah.
Like I think what I say is, look, I like your ex-girlfriend. We go back a ways. We're friends, and I guess for the moment, I work for her mother, aunt. How are these people related anyway? But regardless, something like this from someone like her, I have questions, and you know her better than most, and I think it can help us all. And I guess I'm rolling plus something that I'm not good at.
No, it's plus Dreamer.
Oh, it's plus Dreamer, something I'm excellent at. Wonderful. Roll it. That's a 6. Emilie, we are like fated not to be friends.
Both of you mark an XP.
This is like a weird question. No, I'm not going to do it. I was like, maybe I could use the pearl here, but no, that's not a good idea. It's more effective as a MacGuffin right now.
Mark an XP for the miss. I think as you're making this case to Emilie, the waiter is suddenly right there at the table, and like saying, I think you need to go. There are rules here at this checkpoint. This is not a place for irresponsible behavior. Please don't make me get Herr Franz involved.
I was just about to leave.
Yeah, I think I palmed the pearl before the like the waiter could see it.
Oh, did you now?
I mean, I tried to. If you tell me I can't, then it was a failure. But
let's have you act under scrutiny to see that it goes as well as you want it to.
Wonderful. Rolling plus without a label.
That one's without a label.
And that's an 8. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. On an 8, 7 9 the embassy will tell you what compromise or hard choice you must make to do it. Okay. So you have the chance, I think, to keep your secret here, but there's some kind of compromise or hard choice for it. Yeah, I think if you're, I think if you're hiding this pearl away, keeping from being found out here, you're gonna miss the chance to stop Emilie from just stalking out of the checkpoint, because she was saying she's just leaving, and if she's if you're not doing something to keep her here, she's on her way out.
That's fine. I feel like I missed this opportunity anyway. Maybe we'll get to have this conversation in the future.
All right. So Emilie's out of there. And do you think it's fair to say that you should mark one stress as well, Joske, just because things have been unraveling a little?
Well, just in general, or because if that's part of my choice, I'm going to make a different choice.
Oh, fair. No, that's fine. That's fine. You made the choice to conceal the pearl as opposed to other things, so that's all right. Emilie, as you're leaving, you hear like your conscience saying in like a weak little voice, did you notice someone swatted me in there? Do you even care?
I think Emilie will will say, as she's kind of like stalking away from Joske, it's like, actually, no, what would you say? I think, she says, just be lucky I'm the only one you have to deal with, like him.
I'm not sure this is working out. I don't know if I can be a conscience to someone who never listens to their conscience. I might have to find someone else, Emilie.
I've listened to you in the past.
When have you ever not done something you wanted to do because I said you shouldn't do it?
As she says that, I was just gonna ask, can I mark off capricious for fleeing a situation I've made difficult?
Yes, you may. That sounds correct.
Yeah. Well, it's not that I don't trust what you're saying. You've done well for Ashley. Otherwise she wouldn't have given you away. It's just, when have you ever advocated for doing things the fun way?
That's not really a conscience's job, Emilie.
Okay, all right. I think this conversation is happening as she's like walking back to her apartment because she's sopping wet. She needs to change. Okay, all right. I guess I should run everything I do through you?
I'd really be happy to offer advice. That's my whole job.
Okay, well, okay. Here, I'm gonna run through my next move to you. I'm gonna take that apple. That apple I have in my apartment. You know that one.
I remember the apple. Yes.
Yeah. Well, last time I only ate a sliver of it. This time I'm gonna take a big bite out of it.
You're gonna take a big bite out of the apple, Emilie?
Yes.
I just can't say that sounds like a great idea to me, to be honest.
It's okay. All right. Okay. It's just I'm just tired. I'm frustrated. I have all these things I can do, and I owe it to one person.
You're frustrated to owe these things to your benefactor.
It just seems to me that some people look at me and they'll just see her, you know?
I don't think your friends think about you that way.
Well, I didn't say all. I said some.
Whose opinions do you care most about, Emilie?
It's not about what they think. It's about how I feel.
So you're having this this little argument with your conscience as you stalk back, leaving puddles behind you in the streets.
Mhm.
I think we might cut away to Jack and Skye, who left the checkpoint. Skye, you had something you were aiming to do, and you were letting Jack tag along. Can you tell us a little about your about what you want there?
Oh, my goal is to find the safest way to enter into the river and kind of commune with it and see if I can't get some answers from it. What it would take to calm it down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
But I'm willing to be distracted too.
yeah, Jack, what was did you have things you wanted to discuss with Skye specifically, or are you kind of coming along, seeing what she's doing to get herself together and just aiding however you can?
It's good to see you back in town, Skye. As much as I've appreciated, Joske has a certain level of professionalism to him, and Emilie is Emilie. It's nice to have another trained soldier back with us.
Thank you, Jack. It's not a quality that I think much about, but I'm glad that it endears me to you.
Think about what just happened in the cafe. People without your training would have fallen apart. You managed to extricate yourself from the situation. Basically, you're executing a tactical retreat in a way. It's a very smart thing to do. And I'm trying to rally the troops here.
Yeah, she's kind of speechless. She's like, why is Jack complimenting me so much?
Well, with once more into the breach, when I give a rousing speech to rally the troops, roll plus dreamer. And on a hit, everyone listening clears all stress. And the first PC to act after that rolls with advantage. So,
yeah, this could be helpful. I guess my question is, Skye, is this is the sort of speech Jack is giving here likely to get through to you, or do we think it's possible this is a roll at a disadvantage if he pushes on with this?
I was actually just going to ask a similar question, like, is this sufficiently rallying?
If you were to bring up Dr. Thorne, then it would be sufficiently rallying.
Yeah, what are the troops being rallied against?
We've had some more interactions with an individual who I can't wait to see come to an end. I had to promise Lena that she could pull the trigger on him, but as long as I'm there to see Thorne dead, I'm quite okay with that. But he is once again on our radar, and we're actually making strides towards, well, we have him in our sights. It's just a matter of getting in close enough to pull the trigger.
So she stopped walking when you said Thorne's name, and she's looking at you very intently. She searches her memories. She remembers the fire in the warehouse and the fight with the other one, like
Unburied.
Yeah, unburied. And so she says, I can understand some animosity, but I didn't think that you had reasons to see him dead. Has something changed?
His work created me, created Lena, it created Timothy, it created we don't even know how many others like us. And he is continuing to create others like us. He must be stopped. I can negotiate with... There are people that I can negotiate with. I could negotiate with Anton, for example. Thorn understands one thing, and that is power. And in his case, we must exert power to bring him to heel. And bringing him to heel means putting a bullet through his brain and ensuring that it sticks. I'm sure I know someone who can drag him to hell if it comes to that.
So you've given away the right to end his life. All I ask is that you give me the right to see that he is tortured before it's over with.
I don't think Lena would have too much of an issue with that. As long as he ends up dead.
All right, so I'm sufficiently rallied now.
Jack, go ahead and roll. Well, what is the move call you do? Is it a roll plus dreamer?
Once more unto the breach. When you give a rousing speech to rally the troops, roll plus dreamer. On a hit, everyone listening clears all stress, and the first PC to take up the charge rolls with advantage.
Nice.
On a 7 to 9, your own words ring hollow to you, mark stress.
Okay.
On a miss, something immediately undercuts your message.
So potentially, if this goes well, Skye has a chance to clear that stress she's accrued and take advantage on probably her next role, as long as we can interpret it as in some way taking up this charge of preparing to deal with Dr. Thorne at least. Does that sound good? Sounds good to me. Sound good to you, Mark? Let's make the roll. We've established why it could well rally Skye, and then we'll see if anything gets in the way. What have you got there, Jack? 8 on the dice plus 2 dreamer makes it a 10. Oh, okay. Nicely done. In that case, Skye, you can clear your stress, and you'll take an advantage on on taking up the charge. So how do we see that this speech has had this steadying effect on Skye?
I think you see all of the confidence come back into her. I think you see her shake off the slouch and the grimace that she's been holding on to this entire time. And she's looking at Jack with some admiration that's never been present before. Like, I don't know. It's the feelings are powerful and confusing. But I think mainly you just see her stand up straighter, and you see her hands grip into fists in that, like, we're gonna take them down kind of way. So that's what you see. Nice.
As far as places where the water is kind of powerfully present, there are historic fountains all through the city. You also might be able to find a bridge over the Danube.
Oh yeah, a bridge. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. If you kind of step out onto the bridge, you can like see the water like kind of chafing angrily below a little bit. Like it is not letting you forget that you have you've been disloyal.
Sure. What time of day is this? Is this like midnight? Is this during the day? I don't know.
Yeah. Some of our conversation before suggested it might be like early morning after some of the craziness of the previous night for other operatives. Does that sound right to people?
I kind of felt like it was like late at night. Like we finished up with Anton, dragged him back to the cafe under darkness, but Herr Franz was still there. So I don't know, maybe it's like pre-dawn hours, very early morning, something like that.
Pre-dawn works
Yeah.
for me.
I think-
pre-dawn works for me.
Yeah, pre-dawn, like into the early morning is, I think, how we were talking about it, because we had a whole bunch of nighttime activities in the
so
love
like
letters.
a night crammed with incident, and now we reach the first light is kind of starting to break over the city, but it's not like people are bustling all about everywhere like there are.
Sure.
Yeah. So what are you thinking, Skye?
I'm thinking about standing up on the railing of the bridge and turning around and saying a few words to Jack before I fall backwards into the river, and let it vent its anger and hopefully calm down.
Oh, fascinating. Yeah. Okay. So what do you say?
She begins to climb up on the fence, and she says, or onto the railing, and says, you name the time, you name the place, I am there. And you have declared a just war, and I will be a soldier with you in it. And then she turns around on the railing, and she's in her boots, and she's staring at you. She says, but where I must go right now, I don't think you can join.
I wonder, could you do me the tiniest of favors?
I'm just I want to pause for a second. Just this image of her towering over you as we talk. But yes, absolutely. She says, "Yeah, go ahead."
So unusual for Jack to be towered over, but she's up on the railing of the bridge. Yeah.
When I was alive, I'd always heard of the romance of this city. I never got to see it while I still had a pulse. And this may sound silly. And please feel free to say no. But before you attend to what you must do, would you dance with me?
And can we say that like somebody's up early in the morning practicing their violin or something like that? And
Oh, of course. Yeah,
obviously. Violin maybe like pipes in.
Like someone up on a balcony.
Yeah, absolutely.
And part of this is I'm trying to give you a chance to clear that condition.
Okay. Yeah, you're a much better player at this game than I am. Sure. That's one of my things. I get to do a thing. Let's see here. It says
yeah, we're looking at the refresh move. During your downtime when you dance uninhibited, you can potentially clear a condition.
Okay, yeah. There we go, the refresh move. I was looking at the release moves. Okay. Well, she jumps back down, and she says, only if you let me lead.
I smile and bow.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe just for flavor, like the waters start to kind of like thrash beneath us and like actually kind of spill up over the bridge, soaking both of us as we dance.
Yeah, I love the Titanic energy we have going on here. But the water's definitely not going to be calm if Skye is dancing right above it. Yeah. So Skye, what does the dance look like?
I don't know dances. I would love to know a dance at this point. Puckett, do you know dances?
Let's just go completely stereotypical and say it's a waltz.
Sure. Okay. A slow waltz, then. To violin music and thrashing water.
A slow waltz to violin music and thrashing water. Absolutely. Yeah. And in that case, Skye, you can clear your condition. And I think if you come to the end of your dance, right? Presumably, Jack, do you bow again in acknowledgement?
Of course. I mean, I do have manners.
I think by that point, the water's almost ready to like pull you off, off the side of the bridge, like like it's cutting in,
I have another that I must attend to.
Of course.
Someone else on your dance card.
I'll see you soon, Skye.
I'll see you soon, Jack. And she just leaps over. Like she puts her hand on the railing and just leaps over.
Yeah. I love this idea that you're just going to like you're just going to like take whatever the water is going to throw at you and try and work a reconciliation. I wonder if it's possible that this is an offer comfort role where you're offering comfort to the Danube, and then
okay.
I don't know, a different idea in mind.
No, that sounds perfect. I like how the moves actually work in that situation. And you offer comfort, roll dreamer.
Yeah,
dreamer
and you just cleared burned.
Yeah, thank goodness. I think even though I'll have the scars of it, the burn wound is healed. As I fall into the water, like the wrapping around the arm just kind of rolls off, being not necessary anymore.
Nice. Yeah. So like instead of the like kind of like ugly mark from the dragon fire, it like becomes more like a normal scar, right? Like something a little less kind of dramatic and sort of unresolved looking, right?
Yeah, exactly. Fingers crossed.
Let's go ahead. Oh, Skye. On a miss, you lower your guard to them, then you're in the MC's hand. Yeah, how do you lower your guard to the waters?
Let's see here. Basic moves, lower your guard. Well, I'm not gonna fill my stress track right back up again. I'm gonna reveal a secret. If you're okay with something as amorphous as a river gaining leverage over me.
So let's review. Death is an NPC in this game who has several leverage over Jack. So I feel like we can deal with a river having leverage over you. Yeah, absolutely. What is the secret you're kind of letting out in the midst of this? Like, because I figure like you've leapt into the water and then you're as you commune with the river, this secret comes out.
The secret is, as much as I rail against it, I actually want to be leashed.
Gives you a gives you a purpose, right? Like what are you going to do if that?
It gives me guidance, right? And I can push against it, but like it gives me context for what I'm doing with my life. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the like river whispers to you in in like many voices all surrounding you. We can be your purpose. You don't need this leash. And Mm. And as the as you're kind of basically basically swept away, right? And you're kind of find yourself like flowing through this whole city. It becomes clear to you that Dr. Thorne is pulling back hard on the leash. Like he's gotten word that you're here in the city and is sending you like a strong signal, to go to the dead drop and get his orders. But if will you roll for me a take serious harm just to represent that strong pull on the leash? And we'll see, because of course you've cleared your stress, so it's possible you'll weather this well. But you're kind of caught between powerful forces here, as the river's bearing you along, and the good doctor is yanking back. So make me a roll for take serious harm.
Okay. Since I have no stress, it's not possible for me to go MIA, so I'm glad about that. Oh God. Oh Jesus.
Oh man. Oh Skye. Oh Skye. That's a 10 on take serious harm. It's a doozy. So you do need to choose 2 from the take serious harm list.
Oh man, what a tragedy. What a tragedy. I don't know who the opposition is in this category, but
Like plausibly Dr. Thorne or his agents, right?
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense narratively.
Yeah.
That they gain an opportunity on me, and I'll take the stress. So I'll go back up to 2 stress.
Got it. Yeah, absolutely, totally makes sense. This is stressful. Yeah, so like you feel like you have that by like exposing yourself to its power and like being swept all through the city this way, you may have reknit your connection to the river. But then there's this awful feeling of a cold hand reaching down into the water and yanking you out, and you find yourself on like a sort of somewhat derelict wooden dock, and looming over you is that other unburied you tangled with before, the one
Damn.
that is less of a dancer than Jack, right? Like,
Right.
you've been hauled out of the water. He like tosses you roughly down onto the dock. He says, "You've been gone too long. There's work to do," and just like throws down at you a leather briefcase, right?
Yeah. Good to see you too.
Just kind of like grunts, turns to go. So unless there's something else you're going to do, it seems like he's content to have yanked you out of the river and passed on whatever he's passing on to you.
I eject 2 lungs worth of water and and stand up and ineffectually dust off my shoulders, as
Nice.
if I've just been, all of it's just pure water, just
Right.
Well, actually, I don't think my clothes actually get wet when I'm in the water.
So it just kind of wicks off.
Yeah. So I just like the droplets just fall off to the side, and tell him I was smiling, I say to him as he walks away.
Nice. Yeah. But let's take if it's all right, a quick break, maybe just 5 minutes, and then we'll pick up again with some of the characters we've left waiting, and just see how we kind of wrap up tonight's session to set things up for the rest of the season. So take 5 and see you back here then. All right, are we all back? So Joske, we left you at checkpoint midnight. Emilie had gone off on her own. You have gained some interesting information. Are you going to check in with Spartak and share the things you learned from infiltrating Marcel Mignard's dreams?
So I would like to do that, unless, but I don't know that I want to make a whole scene of it unless you think that there's, like, you're telling me that there's like something significant that can happen there, because I have sort of other scene priorities. But like, I do want to have reported back to him. I don't want to have
I'm happy to. Yeah, I'm happy to just say, like, if you don't have other stuff you want to do in the conversation, I'm happy to say it's happened. You've debriefed with him, given over the information that you got, and he agrees that you fulfilled the mission. So the mechanical upshot is when you fulfill someone's mission and they agree that you've delivered, you gain a leverage on them. So you can note that, and we can say that yes, that happened here.
Excellent. That's what I'd like to do, because what I'd really like to do is sort of they're two related things, and what I want to do is patrol. Tell me, but specifically, I want to patrol in the vicinity of where Dika told me all those people were asleep.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. So going on patrol, checking for like what what if any like evidence of the supernatural is around this. Yeah, so this tenement building, or this, at least, if not quite tenement, at least a somewhat rundown apartment has a bunch of people just asleep in it, and people have been trying to wake them with no success. The authorities have been slow to respond in any way, because it's not the top of their.
Everyone's frozen. I think I froze for a second, so I missed what you just said.
Oh, apologies. Let me recap. We learned from Joske's friend Dika, a fellow Holocaust survivor who has landed in Vienna as well, that there is a building of people in the city that have all fallen asleep, and no one can seem to wake them. The authorities have been slow to act. This is not at the top of any of their priorities. So Dika talked to Joske about this because she knows he has these dream stalker powers. You can definitely patrol around this building to start getting a sense of what's going on. So we'll let you trigger the refresh move, and then probably just roll right into a scene where perhaps you're deciphering or using another move to learn more about the situation.
Excellent. So yeah, so so the refresh move just lets me clear my condition, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I think what I'm actually doing is I'm setting up in like a quiet place outside that tenement.
Mm-hmm.
And let's try fearful symmetry.
Yeah.
Fearful symmetry.
Yeah. Remind us of how that works.
So I have a ritual that helps me think like the monsters do. And I'm trying to think how dark I want to go with this.
Yeah,
because my monsters are pretty terrible.
It's true.
So I think what I'm going to do, I don't want to get too much into
human monsters or more about their.
Well, I think it's both, right? I think they share an ideology, they share a goal, and I think in as much as the monstrous monsters are metaphors for the human monsters, but also there are actual human monsters here. It's a little complicated, but I'm not gonna. So I think I pull out my amulet. I sit, and this is it's similar. It's similar to the state that I get into when I go into dreams, but I'm not looking for a person's dream in a this is like, it's like a Jungian thing or whatever, right? I'm trying to tap into that kind of like sick on that sick romantic collective consciousness that sort of like Nazi ideology imagines, right, like sits like underneath the land and in the land and it's adjacent to nightmare and is connected to these nightmare elves.
So
right?
it's a dream in the sense of this kind of this ideological dream.
Yeah, exactly, right. So what I'm doing is like I'm putting my astral self in their ethnically cleansed kind of, perfect, their image of what perfect is.
Their utopia, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And then sort of like tracing how they imagine how they think they get there. But it's like it's very uncomfortable for me, right? Because I obviously do not belong there. They literally tried to eradicate me from it. And so I have to sort of like erase, at least cosmetically erase myself in order to do this. And that's like, yeah. Roll plus operator.
Yeah, roll plus operator.
Or minus operator, as the case may be.
Yeah, that's the thing about these operator moves.
And that's a 3 either way. I mean, it's a 4, but it's a 3 with the -1.
Oh no!
Oh no!
You're in their clutches. Follow the monster's will or mark 2 conditions to
very bad.
Oh,
well,
dear.
Tell me what they want me to. Tell me what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you're able to tap into this this dream, right? This utopia that that your enemies are trying to create, and you see the fatherland as they see it, and their banners are everywhere, right? But they were waiting for you. This whole building of sleeping people was certainly something they knew would bring you in to investigate, right? Like, so it's like as you're starting to look around, it's like the vision like turns towards you, and like every eye in this utopia has you in its sights, and what do they want you to do specifically? I think I think if we imagine it has a voice, and we're in like strange dream realms, so we just have to work through metaphors here. But if we imagine there's a voice of this conspiracy, essentially, it's saying, perfect, Joske, you will be our instrument. You will bring.
Who is this exactly speaking to me?
To you, it sounds like Anna Seidler, because she was the kind of nightmare person you spoke to most recently. But it feels like she's speaking for the whole conspiracy here. Yeah, she'll say, you will bring that creature you have become associated with, Scylla. You will bring her to the mansion, and the voice tells you where this is. There's a mansion in the British sector that is apparently of interest, and they want you to bring Scylla there. What do you do, Joske?
So before I choose, may I try to I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing, to be perfectly honest, but I reach into my pocket and I grip that pearl. And I'm wondering, I don't know what your mechanical plans for that pearl are, but I'm wondering if that can somehow or another get me out of this terrible choice I have to make.
Oh, fascinating.
If it can't, then that's fine. I'll figure something out. But you just said use it when I'm in need, and I am very much in need.
That's really cool. Okay, so just you're interested in pulling in that pearl that that Victoria gave you, seeing if it can pull you out of
Yes.
this.
Wait, hold on. What did my notes say? My note says that it. I'm on the wrong page. There's my problem. My note says that it was. It just says for when I'm in need. That's what Victoria told me.
Yep. Let's. I'm willing to entertain this, but I think there's got to be a
For sure. What the cost?
yeah. Yeah, I think this is going to yeah, if you give Victoria leverage over you by calling on this, I'll let you roll roll with advantage to exfiltrate this situation. And
can I exfiltrate, or should I roll to thread the maze?
Oh, that's legit. Since you took that move that's connected to the realm of night. Sure, we'll say I'll let you give Victoria advantage to give Victoria leverage to take advantage on threading the maze, trying to get away from the creatures that have you in their clutches.
Amazing. Yeah, so I will do that. And that is plus operator again, so advantage will be real helpful. Add a die. And that is a 10. Sorry, it's a 9. It's a 9, but it is a hit.
Remind me about how thread the maze works.
Sure. So when you navigate the labyrinthine byways that link the city and the Netherrealm, tell us your goal and roll operas. I didn't say my goal is just to escape.
Yeah, your goal is getting away from this.
And I imagine, right, because when we saw Victoria's apartment, it was like, if I remember, it was in the labyrinth, right? It was off one of these labyrinthine roads of night.
Yeah,
that was certainly how we accessed it last time.
At least is a a sort of a node that you can get to from the labyrinth. Possibly there's a more mundane way to get there, but
yeah, it's like a liminal space there. So that's what I'm trying to get. I think I'm trying to escape to sort of following the escape to Victoria's apartment. And
I think the thing about the the National Socialist utopia you were peeking into is it's bright, right? Like it is like drenched in sunlight, and so as you escape, you're like basically like finding a shadow and opening up one of those doors like we've seen Valentine and Victoria use just to get away from that harsh idea of purity they're cultivating.
But meanwhile, there's a threshold guardian.
There is a threshold guardian. Maybe we'll check back in on that. I want to see.
Happy to start next session there.
That's an interesting place to start next session too. Emilie, are you going back to your apartment and taking a bite of the golden apple? Like, is that still the plan?
Kind of. I think when we cut to Emilie, she's back at her apartment and she's changed clothes, so she's done. And she's got the apple. And she starts talking to Constance, because Constance is the only person who's there. It's just, okay, I thought about it. And maybe just taking a bite out of this apple just like that isn't the smartest.
Glad to hear you've been giving this careful thought, Emilie.
I do think it gave me a little something, so I need to figure stuff out. And well, while I'm here, and I think I'm going to take the apple, and I'm going to use the new move I took. Nose. When you closely examine an interesting object, roll plus dreamer. Yeah,
that makes sense. This is definitely an interesting object. You're definitely closely examining it.
I was wondering though, because I'm looking at how code names work. You can use you can roll a move with your code name instead of the usual. They'll be saying how you're relying on orders or training, and giving them leverage. And I think because the code name I got is from
a
my
little
Soviet
nickname
handler,
from Malashka there.
Yeah, just a little wisp to her apparently. And yeah, I think I'm thinking back to when I first met her, which was, well, it was in the middle of a firefight, and then we got transported into the Fey realms. It was long and complicated. Yeah. And I think I did see her use what power she had, and it was quite a bit. She did contact me by mirror. So I think I'm just tapping into that general vibe. It's a bit different from what I tried to do in the cafe.
Are you standing in front of the mirror where Malashka contacted you, and just kind of like trying to remember, how she seemed able to interact with these supernatural powers and using some of that?
Yeah, I think the frame of the shot is like Emilie's back is to the mirror, so the mirror is kind of like around her, so she's framed by the mirror, and she's like holding this apple and trying to see. She's like, just to see.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Imagine.
But you're rolling with +3 because you've wow.
Okay, wow. Finally,
yeah. So there's like the
14.
teeniest tinkle of sort of like a tiny bit of ice forming on the mirror as you're doing this, but like Emilie might not even notice that, right? But you are able to like stare deep into the kind of golden depths of the apple, and we'll find out what you see. What do you ask of the apple?
What secrets or mysteries has this object been privy to?
You plucked this from the tree that was growing in the sewers of the city. I think the secrets it's been privy to is that this is from the apples. This is from the Garden of the Hesperides, which was a mythical garden of nymphs, and during the war. One of these like occult Nazi expeditions found and basically destroyed the garden, like tearing it up, searching for things, and only like a single seed of that tree escaped. And so it was planted in the sewers of Vienna by people hoping to somehow preserve this magical thing somewhere where it might be safe and hidden. But of course, by the time you were plucking this tiny apple, the tree was very was very afraid that it was about to be once more taken by people who want to make it a weapon.
Yeah, I'm sure the very altruistic folks at the CIA would not do that. Yeah, what bans, wards, or limits specifically is what I'm interested in, are attached to this like object.
Oh, okay, interesting. So what are the limits of the power in this apple?
Yeah.
So I think a fully grown apple from this tree can cure any disease and prolong life almost indefinitely. But as this is but a little baby apple that you've taken, it can if someone ate the whole thing, it would cure whatever it felt ailed them, right? Like whatever in the apple's judgment was wrong with this person, but it wouldn't give them immortality. That would take more than this apple contains.
Huh. If only this apple would consider Victoria's gift an ailment. Wouldn't really replace that. Yeah, the last one is. Ooh. They're already good. I think I already got the history though. Yeah, I think. Where does this object belong? In my stomach.
The apple itself is worried about what's happened to the tree, and so it wants to be planted. Like it wants there's perhaps tiny little golden seeds inside of this apple, and it wants them planted somewhere safe where it can grow to a fully grown tree.
Okay, I don't think this apple is going to be the answer to all my problems.
It's good to hear you acknowledge that, says Constance in your ear.
I would like a solution, though.
Well, you know all of these smart people who care about you. I'm sure they'll help you find solutions to your problems, Emilie.
What if there's solutions I don't like?
The bug just kind of like buzzes a little bit, like what more do you want from me, right? Are you up to leave that there? Do you have
yeah, I think
let me check back in, Jack. This has been a session of you negotiating and dancing. Is there anything else you definitely want to see or even to set up? Potentially, if you swing back to the checkpoint, Anton might be patched up enough for you to have a little chat.
Yeah, I think I need to have a word with him. And also I need to take the basin and give it to Herr Franz. Discreetly packaged, of course.
Nice. Okay, so you are packaging up the basin and then giving it to Herr Franz because you trust him more to hang on to it than any of your handlers, I take it.
It was him or Ophidar.
All right. So yeah, back at the checkpoint, you find that Anton has been bandaged up and propped up in a chair somewhere in the back, with a medicinal glass of whiskey in front of him.
Anton, it's good to see you. Not quite up and about, but vertical.
He nods warily. He remembers both that you made sure he survived and also that you gunned down a number of his men along the way.
We find ourselves at a unique crossroads in history. Don't you think?
I really don't think about history all that much.
And yet you raised the dead.
Yeah, history stuff above my pay grade. I just work on what I've got, and when what I've got are corpses and ghosts, I make do with that.
I see. Well, Anton, my acquaintance, and I clap him on the shoulder, which probably makes him wince because I'm pretty sure he got tagged on that shoulder.
He winces, of course.
Congratulations. You've been drafted.
Do you want to roll meet a contact, the checkpoint move, and just see if you get helpful information out of this guy?
Oh, you know what? I haven't actually rolled a checkpoint move. Yeah. Let's go ahead and roll chat. Let's do that. And then do made a contact cafe, roll with questions and take +1 for each yes. And which questions am I rolling with?
So this question's down on the bottom of the checkpoint rules sheet. Are you following the checkpoint's rules?
So far,
Do you have leverage over the checkpoint's proprietor?
I don't believe so, surprisingly.
I guess, yeah. I guess when you make you made a big stand, but that doesn't give you leverage. That just
No.
in this case, he just he ended up following your lead. He went along with what you said. Yeah, I feel like there's still time to get that leverage. There's for example, if you complete a mission for Herr Franz, that would count as a way of getting leverage. But for the time being,
But I don't have it right now.
Yeah, let's roll with +1 then.
Please give me a failure so I can mark XP.
No such luck, because with +1 that becomes up 7 to 9.
Are you kidding me? I mean, at least I got the Die Hard down.
Unless you want to give yourself disadvantage somehow, but no, I think. I mean,
I did. I mean, as you pointed out, I did shoot a bunch of the guy's associates, and I probably shot him. So, but I also got him patched up.
Yeah, I feel like it was a wash by the end there. So, yeah, so a 7 to 9, you're gonna on a hit they have good intel or helpful resources for you. On a 7 to 9, it's dicey, keeping your conversation safe from prying ears, Marcus stress. So yeah, so lurking in the background, there's who we haven't seen around much, but who
Otto.
I was gonna suggest Gordon, who's your kind of favorite guy to pump for information about Dr. Thorne, but also someone you don't trust as far as you can throw him, as we've established. So if he's like popping in the background a little, and
but this is the infirmary. This is going to be a secured part of the checkpoint.
Oh, fair. You're not up in the upstairs.
No, we just talked about him being like attached to he's got medicinal whiskey. He's sitting up in the clinic. He's bandaged up.
Yeah, then fair enough. I think Otto makes sense then, because he's or
it could be just Herr Franz.
You don't want Herr Franz to overhear everything that you're picking up here.
Actually, I don't necessarily care if Herr Franz overhears anything.
Otto works, right? He's an information broker, among other things. You'd rather he not have the you have to talk a little roundabout. You're trying not to broadcast everything, so that makes sense. There's a stress, but it's still a success. They have good intel or helpful resources. So I think you're working through, and he's like everyone in this line of work knows Dr. Thorne. He constantly wants bits of corpses and necromantic magic and all sorts of bits and bobs. But he's always moving around on that boat of his, so hard to know where he's going to be unless he reaches slightly painfully into his jacket. Unless you have the schedule.
Anton, we may never become the very best of friends, but you are growing on me quite quickly.
He gives a little lopsided grin. Are you up to call that a button for tonight's session?
I am.
Let's go around and do end of session choices then. Jack, since we're with you, may as well start. Is there anything you want to choose from that end of session list? You can find it as the end of session tab in the Character Keeper.
Well, let's see. Real quick, I feel like I hit the Die Hard release move.
Yes. Are you taking XP from that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that actually hits the next level.
Nice. You're aiming for that advancement.
And so I will note that I am booking in advance down at the bottom of that track. And then I think my ideology has been shifted, particularly in basically convincing Herr Franz to become the power broker in the city. Because basically what I've been doing is setting this up so Herr Franz and the people who work with him will be beholden to no one. Great power or otherwise, they will be free to protect the city, free to protect the strangeness within, and not really have to worry about the machinations of, well, petty governments and earthly concerns when we're dealing with things that are far weirder.
Yeah, that is a shift of loyalty. So are you marking an XP for that as well?
Yep.
Makes sense to me. Emilie, any of these end of session options seem particularly appropriate for you?
Part of me want to lean to the last one, which is describe under the operative can tell.
Yeah.
You take a bullet for them, which
Yeah.
probably applied to Skye. But then I found out she was friends with Joske.
Wow, you've really, your dislike of Joske has become such a thing that you're feeling like, not totally warm about Skye either.
Well, no, because I decided, because I said that, like, I started to care too much about her. Now it's more like, all right, how do I get her away from him? That's the thinking now. Now, it's good.
Okay,
I'll go with
so
that.
there's a sense that Skye knows that you care, and you can take one of her stresses on yourself.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Nicely done. Moving right along to Skye. Have you taken a look at the end of session moves? Do any of them seem appropriate for you?
Yeah, let me see here. I think I've gained, well, I was going to say I gained insight into Jack.
Oh, possibly.
I think I already knew how much he cared about. Yeah, but I think I already knew how much he cared about these scientists and stuff like that. Just because he has a name now doesn't make it any more.
You also shared a dance with Jack.
So I'm definitely going to say that my yeah. How do you feel, Puckett? Would you agree that I take leverage over you?
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. And I have some
sure,
mechanic
that works.
We could do off the air.
Nice. Well, let's see. Last but not least, Joske. Any of these end of session moves seem appropriate? You had a dramatic, cliffhanger at the end of our session.
Yeah. So here's what I'm wondering, Emilie. Do you think I picked up in the cafe in that little back and forth, like how, like I wanted to talk to you about Victoria because I knew you had dated and you had a relationship, like that connection. Do you think I learned the extent to which or that to some extent your powers come from her, rely on her, or connected to her?
Yeah, I think if you've noticed, like that,
I think I was able to pick that up.
There was even
I think
a visual cue when she kind of extended her powers and the pearl protected you.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to leave it up to you whether you feel like I could have picked up on that. I didn't want to just decide that.
Yeah.
But if you're cool with that, then yeah, I think I have gained advantageous insight into Emilie, and so that's some leverage.
Love it. Yeah.
I didn't use my leverage last time, but Now
right, you
maybe
tried to
I'm going
make
to
a
have
stand
to.
and it went badly. So perhaps next time it's perhaps next time it's leverage time. Yeah, thank you all for playing. See you back here same time, same channel next week. We'll pick up these threads. We'll see where these characters go from here. For anyone who's been watching along, thanks for joining us. Stay safe out there. Have a good one, and hope to see you back for more